What you're about to watch is Encounter lead designer Mike Finnegan accidentally leaking the name of the highly anticipated two-person endless dungeon coming in Q4 this year for the Elder Scrolls Online, and what we can only speculate to be item sets, specifically either designed for classes or only meant for specific classes. This information came out during the ESO Tavern event in Europe this past weekend.
So, what are you working on now that the chapter is out of the door?
Lots of stuff.
Yeah, so I think everybody's kind of working on taking a look at what they're doing next. We, of course, have Endless Archive coming at the end of this year.
The Endless Dungeon.
Well, actually, that's... The name is, I guess I'll let that one out. The name of the dungeon is Endless Archive. So it's the Endless Dungeon that we talked about before, and we're all, the team back home, my team back home is putting together a lot of the finishing touches and kind of stuff like that, getting started to balance. I know Brian's team is working on the class sets. There are going to be rewards in there.
Hey,
and
Ben!
No.
We announced those, didn't we?
No.
Well, you heard it here first.
It's okay.
Can't take him anywhere.
So
I swear.
we'll talk about that later.
Okay, let's
Talk about that later. We're working on things.
Can we ask somebody else a question?
So, the Endless Archive keeps in line with the whole concept of Necrom, Arcanist, Hermaeus Mora, and books in terms of the name. For those who don't know, the two-person Endless Dungeon or arena that can also be played solo apparently was teased back in April during the ESO Las Vegas event. What's even more interesting, especially to me, is that the combat and item sets teams under combat lead developer Brian Wheeler have been working on what I speculate to be special item sets. Immediately my first thought is, okay, so if they are class-specific item sets, will they be item sets that can only be used by their designated classes? Or will they simply be item sets that are meant to be optimal for specific classes by the developers, but can still be used by other classes or other characters that are different classes? I think a prime and very recent example of the former concept I brought up for class-specific item sets is Diablo 4, where players across different characters and classes do see some intersectionality with some weapons or armor between the different classes, but when you start needing to build out your character and class out more, there are class-restricted items that drop that only those classes can use due to those items offering more power or modification for that class's skills and abilities. Personally, I find this concept more intriguing and appealing, especially for ESO, where thus far in the past almost 10 years of its history, players could basically use any item set or piece of gear they want on any character, regardless of their class or role. Before you cry out, well, Nephis, the game is play how you want, I would definitely suggest keeping an open mind if the speculation does turn out to be true, as class balance and the actual identities of the classes in ESO have been in a really weird spot for ESO ever since the hybridization and standardization changes started rolling out back in 2021. Now, if the class-specific sets are item sets that are meant to be optimally used for specific classes, but can be used by other classes anyway, I suppose there's no real loss in that concept as well, apart from it being, more of the same old, same old. And I suspect that there is a 50% chance of this may or may not happen when Update 40 comes out in Q4 this year, as there is no DLC dungeon content that came out in Q3. So theoretically, the ESO developers could have had more time working on more item sets, maybe 7 different item sets for all 7 of the classes, or not, prepared to roll out alongside the Q4 content system of the Endless Archive and some other things they promised, including the highly anticipated durable crafting stations, aka the all-in-one attunable stations. Another kind of secondary thought that occurred to me when I was watching that video was, how are we going to collect these item sets? Are we going to have to do the Endless Dungeon? And probably the answer is yes. I'm curious if they will be adding any more item sets to different sources or different systems in the game with Q4 apart from the Endless Dungeon. Time will tell. We can only speculate for now, so let me know what you guys think might happen with both the Endless Archive and the class item sets down below in the comments. Do you guys think class-bound items might be something you might be interested in? Or do you want the item sets to be, as usual, a free-for-all? Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.